Meatloaf. It was known as a low-cost dish in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, making it a common convenient dinner option back then, but it has more or less lost some value as a family meal staple. If you feel nostalgic while out to eat and order this while you're dining out, the dish will most likely be filled with fat and extra sodium, especially if it comes with a ketchup-based sauce. If you go to the Cheesecake Factory and order their famous factory meatloaf, you'd consume more than a day's worth of sodium in the lunch size alone. The dinner size is almost 2 days' worth. Plus, you'll probably be eating more meat than you need to in one sitting to boot. The food is literally called meatloaf, after all. Eat this. Instead, swap in ground turkey or chicken instead of beef for a leaner meat substitute, and try your hand at making this dish at home to keep sodium and fat in check. Taco bowls. A taco bowl is one of the quickest ways to consume a lot of calories, fat, and sodium all at once. Between the fried tortilla, plus the filling of meat, rice, cheese, sour cream, sauces, and other toppings, things can get out of control quickly. This oversized option is a no-go. Eat this. Instead, if you're heading out to Chipotle for lunch and go for the burrito bowl, make sure you keep what you're getting in your bowl light and opt not to get a tortilla on the side or any chips. Instead, why not make your own taco salad? Lettuce serves as your base, then add a protein, some beans, and salsa. Skip the sour cream to keep things lean. The salsa will give you a juicy punch of flavor on its own. When you're in full control of the ingredients, that's always the best case scenario. Frozen pizza. Popping a frozen pizza in the oven might save you time than ordering one from your local pizza shop, but with high sodium counts and scary food additives, you might want to keep these slices in the freezer section. Red Baron's Classic Crust 4 Cheese Pizza has ingredients such as L-cysteine hydrochloride, a salt used to treat overdoses, and ammonium sulfate, a commonly used lawn fertilizer, along with 720 milligrams of sodium per serving, while Tombstone's frozen pepperoni pizza contains BHT and BHA, so you're not really safe no matter which popular brand you go with. Breakfast-friendly variety. A homemade pie is never a bad idea, as you're in complete control of the ingredients. Start with whole wheat pizza dough, a low-sodium marinara sauce, a light sprinkle of cheese, and healthy toppings, and what you come up with. Fettuccine Alfredo. Alfredo sauce is made from cream, Parmesan cheese, and lots of butter, which together just wreak havoc on your waistline. In fact, cream is rarely used in authentic Italian pasta dishes, so if you visit Italy, there's a good chance you won't find this dish on restaurant menus. It is present on the Olive Garden menu, however, and it comes in at 1,010 calories, proving this is another all-American version of a classic dish you're better off without. Eat this. Instead, if you're craving pasta, instead go with a classic spaghetti aglio e olio recipe, as this dish has very few ingredients: garlic, oil, salt, and pasta. Belgian waffles. Belgian waffles tend to be bigger and thicker with deeper grids meant to hold even more syrup, butter, and cream, so that right there is reason enough to avoid choosing this as a breakfast option when you find yourself out to eat at a diner. Plus, they often get loaded with sugar and sweet batters, so they can go from bad to worse. They're also loaded with simple carbs, which makes them too easy to digest and not very promising when it comes to keeping you full and focused. Eat this. Instead, go with a traditional waffle you can whip up at home and make sure to top with fruit and pure maple syrup, like Trader Joe's vanilla bean-infused maple syrup. Onion rings. Unhealthy ingredient: sugar, saturated fat. The onion ring is a great example of how everything that's good about a vegetable can be expunged, thanks to being deep-fried. Some say they're even worse than French fries because onion rings have more calories, more saturated fat, more sugar, and less potassium. Eat this. Instead, a 3-ounce serving of fried calamari, an onion ring lookalike, contains about 150 calories, 15 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, and 6 grams of carbohydrates, along with plenty of zinc and B vitamins. Even better is if you can do grilled calamari instead. Mayonnaise mayo ranks among the worst of the empty-calorie condiments, and even non-fat varieties aren't any better, considering the sugar and preservatives they contain. Plus, the fact that mayo is made with eggs but can happily sit, unrefrigerated, on a supermarket shelf for months without breaking down or separating is forever concerning. Eat this. Instead, you can make a healthier version of mayo at home by blending Greek yogurt, lemon juice, mustard, pepper, and spices. You'll save more than 200 calories and 20 grams of fat per quarter cup serving. Plus, Greek yogurt is rich in protein and calcium, so it makes for a heartier, healthier spread. Nachos. The basis of nachos consists of tortilla chips, which, although not generally all that bad for you, don't provide any sort of nutrients. Then you add on ground beef or pulled pork, sour cream, guacamole, and an unseemly amount of yellow cheese, and you're in calorie and fat overload. And this bar food staple is often a go-to appetizer at many restaurants. Just take Applebee's for example, where their nachos come in at 2,000 calories and over 5,000 milligrams of sodium. Eat this. Instead, if you're going to indulge, make sure you do it at home where you can make your own steak or chicken and bean nachos for far fewer calories, fat, and sodium than any you would order at a restaurant. Fish and chips. Attack of the beige. Whenever your dinner is monochromatic, in this case, the off-brown hue of deep-fried, you know you're in trouble. Don't blame the fish though, the seafood is packed with lean, muscle-building protein and heart-healthy fats. But the trouble here lies with a massively unbalanced fish-to-fat ratio. A coating of crispy batter and a pile of deep-fried potatoes is just loaded in sodium and fat. Eat this. Instead, when it comes to seafood, always abandon ship on fried fish and opt for grilled instead. Mozzarella sticks. Although there is protein in mozzarella sticks, this popular appetizer choice happens to be fried, and fried foods in particular up the calories, sodium, and saturated fat of everything they encounter. Just look at the Moz sticks from Applebee's. They come in at 910 calories and more than 2,500 milligrams of sodium. Even if you're sharing these, this is not a snack you should be indulging in. Eat this. Instead, skip the whole breaded and fried aspect and just munch on pure cheese sticks, which you can pair with some grapes or almonds for a filling snack. French toast. If you make the right choices when eating French toast, it isn't necessarily all that bad, but ordering this breakfast dish out at a restaurant changes everything, as it just adds more fat, sugar, and salt to a meal already high in fat, sugar, and salt as it is. Cheesecake Factory's bruleed French toast has nearly 3,000 calories, which is more than a day's worth of calories in your first meal of the day. Eat this. Instead, to quell your sweet tooth craving at breakfast, make a smoothie alongside a breakfast sandwich with a side order of eggs. Or try your hand at your own French toast that has plenty of fruit, protein, and fiber. Croissants. We know, biting into a buttery, flaky croissant is unlike anything else. But if you eat too many of them, pretty soon, your belly could transcend your belt buckle. A butter croissant from Dunkin' Donuts has 19 grams of fat, 24% of your daily value, 340 calories, and 8 grams of saturated fat, 40% of your daily value, and you're likely eating all that before you even make it to work in the morning. And that's just for plain. If chocolate croissants are your go-to, you're looking at consuming upwards of 16 grams of saturated fat per pastry from Au Bon Pain, or 80% of your daily value's worth. Eat this. Instead, grab some oatmeal instead to start out your day. Oats have plenty of fiber, and if you add in some fruit, you're getting a well-balanced breakfast. Soybean oil, unhealthy ingredient. It's found in so many processed and packaged foods, but soybean oil may be just as bad for you as sugar. There are studies that claim the oil can be linked to obesity and harm liver function. Eat this. Instead, when in doubt, it's best to avoid foods that contain soybean oil, which we know is very hard to do as it seems to be in everything. When you're cooking though, there are tons of other oils you can turn to, such as avocado oil and even ghee, a form of clarified butter, which both have high smoke points. Canned soup, typically dubbed a healthy, soothing meal, soup truly is one of the least suspicious diet saboteurs of them all. However, that's not the case with canned brands. What makes it so addicting? Besides being appealing because of its low cost, many popular brands add excess amounts of salt. Some brands like Campbell's Homestyle Chicken Noodle contain nearly 1,000 milligrams or more than half your recommended daily intake, which can actually cause us to overeat, according to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition. Besides disrupting satiety cues, when you constantly flood your system with sodium, you can overwork your kidneys. As a result, the sodium sits in your bloodstream where it attracts water, causing water retention and bloat, making you look 5 pounds heavier. Eat this. Instead, check out these 36 best and worst canned soups and soup products for more insight into what's healthy and what's not. Bouillon cubes. Palm oil, caramel color, yellow 5, and yellow 6 are just a few of the unsettling ingredients found in a typical bouillon cube, such as Knorr's chicken bouillon cubes. In regards to palm oil, a meta-analysis in the Journal of Nutrition found this specific fat significantly increases low-density lipoprotein (LDL) or bad cholesterol, compared with vegetable oils low in saturated fat. Followed by potentially carcinogen contaminated caramel color and artificial coloring agents that may have adverse effects on activity and attention in children. It's in your best interest to beware of what bouillon brand you're buying. To discover other items you should avoid adding to the pot on the stove, check out these 20 worst ingredients to put in your soup. Eat this. Instead, consider using an organic broth or chicken stock. Separately, better than bouillon reduced sodium chicken base muffins. Can someone explain to us why a product that's packed in a box marked baked fresh daily contains at least 2 preservatives? Entenmann's isn't the only one with misleading labeling. Otis Spunkmeyer muffins look healthy, coming in at 210 calories per serving, and then you see there are 2 servings per muffin. Typically, store-bought muffins contain over 400 calories and a third of the day's fat, and eating half now and saving the rest for later is near impossible, likely because foods rich in carbs, fat and sugar can be downright addicting. Plus, many commercial muffins are also spiked with waist-widening soybean oil and additives like mono and diglycerides. Eat this. Instead, Kashi blueberry waffles. 2 of these low-sugar, high-fiber waffles serve up the sweet blueberry taste you crave for a mere 150 calories. Even if you topped them with a tablespoon of syrup, you'd still take in fewer calories and less fat and sugar than you would had you opted for the muffin. The winner here is obvious. Making breakfast at home? Try some of these 30 best breakfast habits to drop 5 pounds. Boxed mac and cheese. If you have it in you to eat a mere 1 cup serving of Kraft's 3 cheese mac and cheese, you'd consume at least 600 milligrams of sodium, and that's not including your salted pasta water or salted butter you add to actually make these cheesy concoctions. As prepared, you hit a third of your day's recommended intake of sodium per serving, and if you eat half the box, you could end up consuming half of your entire day's allotted sodium. High sodium intake is associated with ailments such as hypertension and heart disease, according to the American Heart Association. Eat this. Instead, we found a dozen great options in our thoroughly researched report, 25 Best and Worst Boxed Mac and Cheese. Frozen pies. That pesky ingredient is very much present in frozen pies, especially in Marie Callender's line of apple pies. While there is zero trans fat listed on the frozen desserts nutrition labels, the presence of soybean oil and hydrogenated soybean oil is still concerning, as this type of oil has been linked to weight gain. Eat this. Instead, we'd always go for a homemade pie when we get the chance, but if you're under a time crunch, just ensure that the two words, partially hydrogenated, are missing from your frozen pie's ingredient label. Hot dogs. There are plenty of good reasons not to eat hot dogs. Their high levels of sodium and carcinogen-producing nitrates are just two, but if you need another, here you go. The barbecue staple is also preserved with sodium phosphates, an ingredient that even McDonald's scrapped from their menu. Studies published in the journals FASEB and Aging have connected high levels of serum phosphates due to dietary consumption to higher rates of heart disease, chronic kidney disease, weak bones, and accelerated aging. Eat this. Instead, if you're jonesing for a juicy dog, opt for an organic option like Applegate Farms' great organic uncured beef hot dog. Chinese food. The one saltiest restaurant meal on the planet? It's from P.F. Chang's. But exactly what it is might surprise you: the hot and sour soup bowl. One serving will fill you up with 9,590 milligrams. That's over 4 times what the FDA recommends you consume in an entire day. Eat this. Instead, steamed veggies and these other 8 Chinese foods approved by diet experts. Deli meats. The deli meats you use to make your lunch may be putting your life at risk. How? Consider this: just 2 of those thinly sliced pieces of meat can contain more sodium than a bag of pretzels, and upwards of 680 milligrams. And who only uses 2 slices? A diet high in sodium puts many at risk for high blood pressure, hypertension, and heart disease, and with the average American consuming 3,400 milligrams of sodium each day, according to the American Heart Association, you should try to choose lower sodium options whenever they are available. Eat this. Instead, unfortunately, all natural, uncured meats still contain nitrates from natural additives like celery powder, so you won't really be reducing any negative health risks by purchasing these. Rather, the American Institute for Cancer Research (AICR) recommends focusing on reducing your intake of processed meats to 18 ounces or 6 3-ounce servings of meat a week. Check out our low-sodium, Eat This. Approved meats in our exclusive report, 32 Best and Worst Packaged Deli Meats. Instant oatmeal packets. If you pick up the peaches and cream flavor from Quaker, you'll be consuming artery-clogging fats in the form of hydrogenated soybean oil. With other gross additives like corn syrup solids and artificial peach flavor, you're better off making your own plain oatmeal and adding milk and peaches. Eat this. Instead, to find our Eat This approved picks, check out our exclusive guide, 25 Best and Worst Instant Oatmeals. Candy. You already knew all the artery-clogging fats and addicting sugars in candy weren't doing you or your family any favors, but you likely didn't realize that certain candies can make it more difficult for your little ones to concentrate. A few years ago, researchers discovered that the artificial colors, yellow no. 5 and yellow no. 6, found in M&Ms, promote attention deficit disorder (ADD) in children, according to a study in the journal The Lancet. In fact, Norway and Sweden have already banned the use of these artificial colors, and in the rest of the EU, foods containing these additives must be labeled with the phrase, "may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Eat this." Instead, M&M fans should check out Unreal's milk chocolate gems. It's a similar product, but free of all the scary chemicals. Boxed cake mixes nothing says "happy birthday" like a slice of sugary, chemical-laden cake, right? Whipping up a cake from a box is much easier than gathering all the ingredients and baking it from scratch. But taking this shortcut could cost you in the health department. Many cake mixes from Duncan Hines, Betty Crocker, and Jiffy are loaded with belly-bloating sugar and questionable chemicals. That's nothing to celebrate. Eat this. Instead, celebrate an occasion and the fact that you're not harming your health with excessive sugar by picking up a box of our best Eat This approved cake mixes. Baked goods banned in the United Kingdom and Canada. Potassium bromate is still lurking in some U.S. foods such as pizza, wraps, rolls, bread crumbs, and bagel chips, according to a 2015 analysis by the nonprofit Environmental Working Group (EWG). The issue? A 1982 study found the dose strengthener induced tumors in rats and led the EPA to conclude bromate as a probable human carcinogen. It's also been linked to kidney failure and cell deterioration, according to a 2001 toxicological review of bromate by the EPA. While the FDA has encouraged bakers to voluntarily stop using it since 1991, the EWG found evidence of it lurking in 86 different products, including Goya's disco dough sheets for empanadas. Eat this. Instead, this will take a little investigative work on your part, but take a moment to scan the ingredients list next time you're at the market. Luckily, due to California Proposition 65, any product sold in California using bromated flour is required to bear a cancer warning, so it will be easy to pick out if you live in that state. If you pick up a package with potassium bromate or bromated flour on the label, put it down and pick up something else.